Well, hello everyone and welcome. It's Brandon Pacheco from Cinema. I'm going over my notes and getting ready to start this Fargo Season 5, Episode 3 review. Oh wow. Oh boy, we have a lot to get into. Whoa, this episode is off the charts. Little out there, a little all over the place, but very interesting nonetheless. This episode was it was very interesting. I want to say before I begin that it absolutely you should watch 3 and 4 together if you have the opportunity, because 3 cuts off right into the next. It's a to be continued type of, like, I gotta see what's gonna happen next. That's all I'm gonna say. Before we begin this review, also, I'd like to just make a small little remark, if I can, about Noah Haley. He is killing it this season. Season 2 has always been my favorite. This may be right up there with it, or not. I like it a little more, and I'm not sure why or how yet, but we'll get into it. Full compliments, like, well done, man. You've really, like, from last season, season 4 relatively to this, we're only in our 4th episode and I'm already like, whoa. Noah Haley has my full carte blanche. Like, let him FX make more Fargo seasons. I used to say let season 4 end it. This should be the 5th and final installment, but I want to retract a little bit of that and say I think we should make some more Fargo. I mean, this is already developing into a great little season so far. Let's go ahead and dive right into this, shall we? So, job well done, Noah Haley, on Fargo Season 5. The beginning of this episode is very interesting. We get a recap of everything that we've seen so far in the last 2 episodes, which is relatively a lot, actually. And you get a whole lot of information, a lot of things in this episode as well, about the characters. The tone of this episode's a little fun. We see something I don't believe we've ever got to see before. It's interesting. We get to see a beautiful snowy Halloween. I've never got to see anything like that, and I mean, I think I may have seen like old stock footage before or something like that, but this is kind of a first time for me. I was like, it's kind of a neat little tone for your Fargo setting for season 5. This one opens up and starts out exactly where we left off at, with one of the deputies who was with Gator got stabbed at the gas station. That this episode shows Gator, and he's talking to his dad, Roy Tillman, about the dead body that they have. His deputy, which in the last episode we seen that he gets stabbed and killed by Old Munch. This is the same gas station and place that Old Munch and our main character Dorothy had their standoff at in the very first episode. What's the relevance of this, or what's the importance of this? I guess you always go back to the scene of the crime is the thing. But he left a message, you owe me. We've seen that in the last episode, Old Munch. Next, we see Roy come in at his house, and there's a bunch of men standing outside on guard. And he mentions, I guess, to his father-in-law that his men can come in. He said, leave the animals outside. And he mentions to Roy something about illegal firearms, or they needed a new shipment in, and that they weren't going to get anywhere by just having bad talk or something, or rough talk. It needed to be some action. So, and he explains to his father-in-law he needs to let things kind of cool. They're kind of, being sniffed around by the FBI. But we noticed that Roy has another. We see that Roy is married. He said he's married to Dot. So I guess he's got 2 wives going on that we don't really get explained the situation, but we see this beautiful dolly shot of his family. We see Roy and his wife that we're seeing with the 2 girls. They dolly over to the shot and they show Roy and his wife, and they show Roy and Dot. Next we see Roy, and he's in bed smoking weed. Nothing wrong with that. But he's visualizing or seeing something or he's looking, he's seeing Dot in the ceiling. Like, he can almost visualize where she is, or he's like, I see you, or something. I'm not sure. It's really like, what's he doing? I don't know. Like, can he teleport his mind to where her location? But his wife's trying to get his attention, but no luck. But he's like, I see you, and then we see Dot, and Dot, she's going around her neighborhood, from like road to road, switching off the road signs to throw off who's ever coming, because she knows someone's coming. She's like, they weren't finished with their job, so they're coming back for me. And I guess that's what I'm thinking she's thinking. So she's changing the road sign. So I guess who's ever tracking her, they'll look at their GPS and say, well, this is saying something else, so I'm looking at something else, which is right here. The confusion. It's pretty clever, I think. She knows all these she knows all these real smart tactics, like life hacks. Next we see Dot making some sort of list to do of what they need to get. I can't remember what all was on the list. It looked a little unusual and odd. But her and her husband are discussing the plan. She's changed up her costume designs. I think she's like really paranoid. Like, who's ever watching or listening, I need to keep changing up things to throw everything off to make sure no one can find us, or she wants them to find. I don't know. She looks a little disheveled. I think that I don't believe she slept very well the night before. But they're right at the scene where they're going to go get guns. And her and Wayne are discussing about getting firearms and their Halloween plans with Scotty. Then we see them go to the gun store, and which is kind of it is a right little funny scene. It wasn't really my favorite in Fargo, but I was just like, oh, okay. We have the scene where Dot, she knows the guns she wants. She wants a lot of stopping power, and pretty much a whole arsenal, it sounded like. And everything looks and sounds good, but then he mentions to her but then the man behind the counter mentions to Dot that they're going to do a background check. Then after she hears that, she's like, let's go check on the pepper spray situation or something like that. But yeah, she still has we still have a lot more of her background, which I can't wait to see and get into. Her character is very fascinating, and I can't wait to see where this is going to go. I want to see, like I said, I want to see her history. She don't like hearing about that background check. What's she hiding? What's the past other than this elusive Roy character, huh? Gator mentions to Roy after his deputy's been shot that he didn't want this going down over the wire. I guess so who's ever listening or watching, old Munch, he guesses or knows that he doesn't want him finding out and getting the upper hand and getting another drop on him, I guess. Real quick, let's talk about the elephant in the room in this episode. And that is, we go 500 years into the past, 1522 to Wales, I think. Old Munch, or the wife says it's his ancestor. We see in an old church with dead body and these people and a guy that looks kind of like old Munch, but it could be an ancestor, and he has to eat moldy food off a dead body, and he's bad, or he's done something good, or I really don't know. I don't know, but that's okay. The thing, it wasn't really made clear. But there's not a lot of clarity sometimes. Look, there is some weird scenes in Fargo you just can't explain, and I'm okay with this scene. I'm like, it felt a little out of place, but it's in here for a reason, and we'll probably find out later what all this is about. But if we don't, I still want to know what's up with Varga in season 3. What happened to him? Could he come back in this season? Probably not, because they haven't really made a lot of leeway or room for him to. They've made a lot of new characters, breaking new ground, and I love this season. All right, let's get back into this. Let's talk about, I've messed up a couple things. We go to somewhere in North Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, to an elderly lady who likes her alcohol. She hears a noise while she's drinking, this drunk Midwestern lady. She's like, what's going on in my house? And she goes upstairs to find old Munch, and he says, I live here now. And she don't say a word, I don't believe, in this episode. And he calls her mom. Is this his mom? Maybe? Why is he calling her mom? I don't know. This is a very interesting character and a very odd scene. And like I said, comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are. Next we see Gator Tillman at the Tillman residence, I guess you call it, amping himself up for finding more information about Dot. I guess his stepmom or mom. So we have this little scene with also Whit Farr going to the same place. He's going to identify, I believe, Dot, and see if this is the lady that he was involved in his shooting, that he pulled over. Everything got out of hand in the first episode. Is this his gal, so to speak? And he runs into Gator as he's going to check the evidence. Gator leaves him with nothing. He leaves him nothing but a Slim Jim wrapper and the thing. But there's this really tense scene where he's very aggressive. Gator's very aggressive and mean to Whit Farr for no reason, bullies him even, and tries to knock down his crutch after he's gotten shot. And and also racist to him. Very uncomfortable scene. But we kind of know what he's going to be, what he is. We already know we don't like him. And this scene already made it it made it further stronger that we're really going to dislike this character. Moving on. Stop. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? I do want to mention the cross promotion in this season. And maybe I've never noticed it before. Maybe I haven't noticed it in previous seasons. But it's like Mountain Dew, Slim Jims. There's a Slim Jim wrapper in the evidence box. The Slim Jims, the Arby's. We have Arby's, Dairy Queen, and I'm like, what's all the cross promotions? Also, I see in this episode, and another character, Danish Graves, they're sporting the eye patch. Is that a new thing? Is that coming back in? I don't know. Has that ever been a thing that's ever been a trend? I'm not sure. Comment this down below. Next, we see Lorraine and Officer Olmsted and another officer questioning and talking to Lorraine Lyon and Danish Graves. And they're not really getting anywhere talking to her. And Lorraine tells Officer Olmsted mean things like she doesn't see a need in the police or her job, or was her point. Kind of mimics the scene with season 3 with Fargo.
Thank you. It's Eden Valley. Is it a nice town?
We got a tasty freeze and a Dairy Queen.
Well, wonders never cease. Come on.
With that scene with Fargo where he does the same thing to Gloria Bergel in a way. But I thought this one was done in a little bit. It was a little harsh, but she was pretty much saying, you guys hold up a gate, or you guys are the gatekeepers, keeping the rich away from the poor and what. So next we see Roy talking to Gator. He's giving Gator instructions, which I'm a little worried and confused. Does he not see his son with a broken arm? But he's like, grab a few guys, which looks like millennial young kids, and they're fighting and bickering with each other, playing around and fucking around. They're messing around in the van, not really paying attention. I'm just like, okay, we know this woman's already skilled. We see her skill set already in episode 1. What is this guy missing? So he sends his son off to do this on Halloween night. She's, pretty much Gator gets the instructions, I believe, from his dad. Grab her up and bring her back here to North Dakota, to Stark County. To do what? What's his intentions? That's not really made clear. It's Halloween night, and we see the Lyon family getting ready to go trick-or-treating. Or we see them trick-or-treating or leaving we see Dot and Wayne, and we see Dot, Wayne, and Scotty leaving to go trick-or-treat. Then we see them coming back from trick-or-treating. I guess they just went around the neighborhood, but Dot sees this van. She spots out Gator somehow. She knows, well, she's waiting for him. She knows who I don't know if she knows that's absolutely Gator, but she knows who's ever in that van with the Jack Skellington mask. She's ready for him, and she's watching him. And she gives him this real intimidating stare off. I love the end of this episode. It's like, I just want more Fargo, Oh, man. I'm going to cut it off right here, guys. That's all I have to say about this episode. You can probably see now why I say you need to watch 3 and 4 together. So it just slowly fades out into dark. And it's like, what's going to happen next, you know? That's my review for Fargo Season 5, Episode 3. I really love this episode. I don't want to give anything else away. I cannot wait to get into Episode 4. And guys, please continue to keep watching Fargo and also these Greenlight Cinema reviews. All right, guys, thanks. And if you guys hadn't already, I hope you guys will also please share this episode, smash that like button, and subscribe to this channel if you hadn't already. Greenlight Cinema, we really appreciate you guys' support. All right, guys, thanks. Bye.